The zone is an unforgiving place that will chew up and spit out inexperienced and under-equipped stalkers in a flash. There's no substitute for experience, unfortunately, but at the very least, we can help you with being better equipped right at the start of the game. Here are 10 things to do first in Stalker 2. The linear prologue chapter of Stalker 2 ends when you place 3 scanners down at specific locations. Afterwards, there's a cutscene, stuff happens, and when you wake back up, you'll find your inventory completely empty. It doesn't have to be that way though. Before you even approach the objective marker for the 3rd scanner, check around the side of this building for an open window with a safe. Instead of cleaning out all the contents of the safe, put all of the gear you want to hold onto inside of it. There are no combat sections coming up, and when you regain control after the cutscene, you'll be just a short walk away from returning to the safe to pick all of your gear back up. Also, before you leave the starting area, make sure you climb up the nearby tower to collect some food, medkits, and ammo. Just up ahead, you'll spot a group of bandits in the middle of a firefight at the post office. Help out the person inside, Zorik, by killing the bandits, and then chat with Zorik to start up a side quest involving saving his buddy Gloomy, who's being held at the boiler house to the east. Before setting off for the boiler house, you can collect Zorik's stash by making a stop at the downed airship slightly to the northeast of the post office. It's guarded by a couple of blind dogs and a bunch of radiation, but it's nothing you shouldn't be able to handle. But before you continue to the boiler house for the side quest, take a detour and head a short distance to the southeast from the post office and look for an empty bus. Inside, you'll find a bunch of boxes that you can break with your knife to get some bandages, 5 medkits, a grenade, and some vodka, all of which will come in handy in the next combat encounter. Well, maybe not the vodka. Get back on the path and continue northeast to the boiler house. There will be a handful of enemies inside, but plenty of cover for you to make use of. Once you take them all out, head to the 2nd floor of the boiler house to find Gloomy. As for the reward for this quest, it's an Echo Finder. And even though you already have one, assuming you did the safe trick mentioned earlier, Gloomy doesn't really have anything better to offer, so you might as well take another one so you can sell it later. Asking for something else simply points out the location of Gloomy's stash, which is where our next stop is anyway. Just outside the boiler house and to the east is a magnetic cave. Shoot the red barrel to blow up the crates blocking the entrance, and you should see an area with a bunch of fire anomalies. Side note, Gloomy's stash is just to the left on the floor when you first enter this room. Pull out your echo detector and carefully maneuver around the fire anomalies as you try to get closer to where the beeping from your echo detector is the fastest. Eventually, you'll trigger an artifact to appear, which you can snag and hold on to. This artifact reward seems to be randomly chosen, as I've gotten 2 different artifacts on 2 separate playthroughs, but in both cases, the detriments of equipping the artifact far outweighed the benefits. They still fetch a pretty penny when you sell them though. At this point, you should make tracks towards the first major settlement of Zalicia, which your compass will guide you towards as it's part of the main quest. There's a bunch of things to do when you first get here. First, head to Warlock's bar and trigger a cutscene that advances the main quest. When the cutscene ends, talk to Warlock twice, so you get the side quest Warlock's Debtor. We'll come back to this in a bit. Now head out and talk to the NPC that calls for your attention. He'll give you a quick side quest that covers exactly what we're going to do next, which is talking to Hamster and Lens. If you go north from Warlock's bar, you'll find Hamster. This will be an important location as he's your general trader for this town, and his shop is also where you'll find your bed to pass the time and your stash to store excess weapons and gear. For now, you should probably use the shop to sell off your spare echo detector and your artifact, assuming it's not worth equipping, and purchase some ammo and medkits so that you don't find yourself wanting once you're out in the wilderness. When you're done with Hamster, step outside and move 1 building to the left to find Lens. He's a technician and will be your go-to person for gun repairs and upgrades. You probably haven't found any gear worth upgrading at the moment, but if any of the weapons you're using are in poor shape, make sure to repair them before you set out. He's also got a side quest for you to pick up. There are a couple of other side quests to pick up and things to do while you're here. Nightingale has a pretty simple side quest over to the west end of the town involving killing some blind dogs that you can take on for some quick and easy money. Mitye in Hamster's shop has one that takes you to the poppy fields, which you should do only once you have a healthy stock of energy drinks, and you can climb up the radio tower for some loot at the top and to activate a transmitter for a quest in the future. If you head out the eastern exit of Zalicia, follow the path, and keep an eye out to the left, you should notice a large anomaly in the middle of a lake that expands and contracts, pulling in objects as it expands and pushing them back out when it contracts. Head towards it, but be careful to only move while it's contracting, and always have something in front of you when it starts expanding, as you'll take continuous damage when you're being sucked in. The goal is to make it right up next to the anomaly, near the ambulance. If you look just to the side of the ambulance, you'll find a weird ball artifact. Equip it, as it will decrease the amount of damage you take from bullets with no detrimental side effect. Now it's time to do Warlock's little favor. There's a man named Valak Lumix who's being held up by bandits slightly to the northwest of Zalicia. The main reason why this is a good quest to do early on is because there's a great scoped assault rifle in Valak's stash that you can take for yourself, and then also use to take out all of the bandits threatening Valak from a safe distance. You could also take the loot down and attempt to give it to the bandits, but I wouldn't recommend it. Get back on the trail of the main quest by doing the Needle in a Haystack quest. You'll get this quest by talking to either Gaffer or Captain Zototh about Squint. I'll leave the choice of which faction you want to side with and the fate of Squint up to you, because regardless of who you decide to give the ward sensors to, or what you decide to do with Squint, you'll still be able to go to your stash after the completion of this quest and pick up a USB drive that begins one of the more rewarding game-spanning side quests you'll find. Picking up the drive in your stash after completing the Needle in a Haystack quest will start up the Seek and You Shall Find quest, which places a whole bunch of markers on your map notating where to find a valuable stash of gear. 3 of these can be found right where you are, in the Lesser Zone, and you should search them out as soon as you can. The first one can be found just north of Zalicia. Head around to the back of the 2 houses near the marker and look for a truck. You need to hop onto the bumper of the truck at this very specific spot in order to land on it, which will let you jump on the hood, then to the top of the truck, then to the roof of the building to the right. Drop down to the platform on the right, crouch through the crawl space, and you'll find the stash at the end containing a better jacket, a better pistol, and ammo. The next one can be found further to the north of Zalicia at the northern checkpoint. Look around this spot on the map for a ladder that takes you to the roof of the tallest building. Then walk over to the corner where you'll see a bunch of crows. Take the ladder down and you'll be able to grab the stash, which contains a Viper monolith gun and a bunch of ammo. It's worth mentioning as well that there's a single stalker hiding inside this trap-filled warehouse up the stairs with a very powerful sniper rifle. It needs some work and costs a lot of money to fix, but it'll be worth it. The final one is located near the Sphere, which is a location that you'll have to visit for the main quest. The cache is located at the northwesternmost part of the complex. You'll need to either fight through or sneak past some guards, but once you're clear, all you have to do is climb up the ladder near the marker and you'll be able to grab the stash. Inside will be an AR-16 monolith and a bunch of ammo. And those are 10 recommendations of things to do first before you even leave the Lesser Zone in Stalker 2. Thanks for watching, and for more Stalker 2, make sure to check out our guide of things it doesn't tell you. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.